Wholesale Sharks is live from the Dispo Shark studio. We're back with another episode in the Dispo Shark studio. Today we have Christopher Garcia. He is a serial entrepreneur and an investor here in the Valley. His company name is Dollars for Dwellings. And he's an incredible individual, currently working on a deal together. So I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. What's up, Christopher?
What's up? How you doing, Annette?
Good.
It's
Thanks.
good to be here.
It is. And I appreciate you coming in. I know you got here a little bit early. You were popping some modelos with Chris.
Yeah.
we keep it super chill here at the Dispo Sharks studio, but that's cool. I'm glad you were able to make it. I want to give you this opportunity to introduce yourself and tell our viewers a little bit about what you do.
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Christopher, and I come from New Mexico. I came here about 2 years ago. I had found one of those ads on Facebook that talks about wholesaling real estate, and I didn't know too much about it.
No
I started
way.
getting into it. Yeah, I started to get into it, and I just took a deep dive into it. And over the course of 2 years, I've just become really successful at it. I've been good at what I do, and it's something that I just really wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
And so I had spent 12 hours a day just kind of working at my craft and getting things going. And now I'm here.
And that's amazing. Like what were you doing beforehand, before you got inspired by the idea of real estate?
Okay. So before I had actually moved to Arizona, I used to own a storefront of knives and swords. It was called Mild to Wild Knives and Swords.
Yeah.
And COVID actually had shut down my store. I had dropped $50,000 into this store. It completely ran me out of business.
Oh my God, that's horrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was really
sucks.
tough because at 23 too, you think like that, because any business is like your baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at 23, I really thought that I was going to be good. I thought that this was like, oh, I have a store, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
That was not the case. COVID came around 3 months after. It completely wiped my store out. And I was sitting there like, well, what am I going to do with my life? And so I had found a Motorcycle Mechanic Institute poster on one of my trophies because I used to race dirt bikes a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
And I came up for Motorcycle Mechanic Institute. And then I started asking them questions like, hey, what can I make a year? And they're like, 30,000. And I'm like, that's all I can make a year. And they're
You're like,
yeah.
that's it? That's a cap?
Yeah, like that's the top I can make. So I ended up just dropping out of Motorcycle Mechanic Institute. I said, I'm done with that. I had found Cody Sperber on one of those ads.
Yeah.
And me and him had actually worked some stuff together in the office when I had found my first deals. But I had found his stuff. I started just taking notes of everything. I started just writing down everything and learning everything. And it took me on this journey to where I am now, where I just really love wholesale real estate. I love the idea of real estate, creative finance, sub two, buy and holds, a number of things. And honestly, I'm really glad that everything happened the way that it did, because if I would have kept that store, I probably wouldn't be making as much as I do in real estate now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I think it really impacted me in a positive way. And, during the time I felt like it was in a negative way, but real estate is so much better than owning a store. You know how many knives it would take to sell to get to $20,000 on a check?
Right. Which is like one assignment fee.
Yeah. Like it's insane. And I actually had a mentor through this process. He was just doing big numbers. I remember I went to his house because he said, yeah, come work with me. And I said, all right, I'll go work with you.
And was that here in Arizona?
Yeah, here in Arizona.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I went to his house and he dropped like $100,000 worth of checks in my lap. And I had never seen this kind of money, especially from a computer screen. Like he hustled this off from a computer.
Yeah.
Like no merchandise, no nothing.
So I imagine it was virtual?
Yeah.
Like virtual wholesale?
Yeah. And that's what I do, because I'm in the Detroit market. Even though I'm in Mesa, I'm in Detroit, I'm in Alabama. I've done deals in so many different states.
Nice.
So it just he showed me the way to do this. He had been a agent for like 8 years, and I thought about getting my agent's license, and he goes, no, that's not the way. Like, I'm telling you, assignments are the way. That's why I stopped doing traditional.
Right.
So I just listened to him. And we started making a ton of money. We were making like $100,000 a month.
That's insane. That's like life-changing money.
No, yeah, it is. It really is. And this guy was super cool. He would really help me. He helped me out in every single aspect that I needed help in.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, it was time for me to, I guess, spread my wings and fly. And so I kind of took off, and I started getting my own VAs. I started getting my own lists. I started having my VAs call the lists. I got junior acquisition people. And I've hired on just to kind of expand. And things have been going really well for us lately.
That's amazing. I'm very happy to hear that. That's incredible, like your story. So how long were you with this guy before you decided to go ahead and take off on your own?
So I think we were working together for about 4 months.
Okay, so
And
that wasn't even a long time span.
it wasn't a long time. And, you know, we had made so much money together. I think during that time, because like I said, I was new, we had only made like $100,000 together. But at the end of the day, you think about it, I think I was only making like 15% commission, something like that. And, you know, at the end of the day, I was like, well, you know, I gave him this big chunk of money, but it was to teach me something.
Right.
And so I learned something that was really valuable to me that I'll never forget. I mean, the day that I went to his house and he's like, I said, are you really closing deals? And he kind of chuckled at me and he reaches in his desk drawer and he pulls out a bunch of checks that he hadn't even cashed yet. And he threw them on my lap. And I'm like, oh my gosh, looking at all these like statements of like how much money he made.
No freaking way.
Yeah, it was insane. And I remember I thought to myself at that point, I'm like, you know what? This guy's the real deal. Like, this guy's for real. I'm gonna keep working with him. And so I went there every day. I would travel an hour from where I was living to his house in Peoria. Yeah. And every single day I'd go out there and I'd just sit by his side and I'd watch what he'd do. I'd watch the tricks, the tips, the things that he would do and how efficient he was. And it really helped me because, you know, a lot of the times in these courses that they sell you, they don't tell you about how you need to set your CRM up or how you need to follow up or anything like that. I mean, when I was first doing this, I would take the leads and I'd write them down on a piece of paper. And you know that's not going to work.
You lose a piece of paper. Yeah, like if something happens.
No reminder to tell you like, hey, you got to call this guy back on Tuesday when he says to call you back. You know what I mean? And so I just got so confused in all that mess. And this guy really helped me amplify what I was doing, you know, in my business. And so big shout out to Kyle. He's a good guy, a good friend of mine. Kyle Newman.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, shout out Kyle.
Yeah, he's a good
That's
dude. Incredible.
So do you guys still do business together? Regardless of like you being like on your own now?
Yeah. So at first it was a little rocky because he was like, well, you know, it was like almost like a breakup when we first like started to like break off. Yeah. But over time we've actually kind of just mingled and talked and he understands where I'm coming from and I understand where he's coming from. I was actually on the phone with him last night talking about a Santan Valley deal that I just locked up last night. Yeah. And so we might take that down. He said he might have some buyers that'll pay a little bit more. Because I have hedge funds, but nobody that I know on a hedge fund is going to buy in Santan. Yeah. So he's like, yeah, I know some people that'll, you know, pay quite a bit.
Like still able to like collaborate and like do business.
Yeah. You know, and it's just a beautiful relationship that we've kind of just built up together. And now it's just been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
He's a really big help. He was awesome to me. So yeah. I really got to give him that.
Let's hear about your first deal because that's always definitely like a pivotal moment for any entrepreneur and especially anybody in wholesale. What did that look like for you? Was it a creative finance deal? Was it a huge assignment, a small assignment?
So on my first deal, it's funny that you ask because I had contracts before and I didn't know how to find a buyer because everybody talks about acquisitions, but nobody talks about dispositions. That's a whole different monster. Right. That's a whole different game that you have to play. And you still have to keep in touch with everybody to make sure everything goes right during the transaction, right? And on my first deal, I remember I was so upset because it took me so long to get it. I didn't grow as quick as some of these guys that you see on here. You know, I see some guys that like get their first deal in a month. Yeah. That was not the case for me. And my first deal, I was so mad that I was literally about to like throw my office chair through a window. I was like so mad. And then I called this guy and he's like, hey, I have 6 houses and I want to sell all of them because I'm moving back to the UK. And he had like this UK accent. And I took all 3 of those houses and actually 2 of them were duplexes in the Detroit market. We took those and they went right away. I found the buyer, I found the seller, and I just put the 2 together. And they were really the smoothest transactions ever.
Oh my God, you got so lucky.
I did. And so we started working this package with this guy. And so over the course of a couple months, I was working his package because I would sell some. I told him, hey, I need these contracted individually. And so I got each of them on an individual contract so I can sell them individually. And I remember the day that it actually closed because that was one thing that my mentor kind of had taught me, like, don't count the money until it's in the bank account. Right. You know, because we all know in real estate how some of these deals sometimes go.
Yeah, they could fall through or it doesn't perform.
Or somebody will back out.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There's so many different things. And so he says, you know, don't get excited. Well, the day that it closed, he walked into my office because he had different offices in his house. He had a big house. And he walks into my office and he goes, hey, and he like wrote me like a check on my commission and he handed it to me and he's like, your deal closed. And I just started crying because I had been,
really?
Oh yeah, because I had been working at this, 12 hours a day, just learning everything, writing notes down about like what I need to do, how I need to do it. And so, you know, I really wanted it. I really wanted this dream to happen. Yeah. And So that's kind of how everything happened. I remember I got it and I was like speechless. I was just like, oh my gosh, like I really closed the deal. And from then on, I closed 2 more. And then I knew like this, because the first time you're like, hey, maybe I got lucky. You know what I mean?
You're right. Yeah. You're like,
then,
wait.
Yeah. And then 2 more happened. And I was like, holy, like this is real.
Yeah.
Like this is for real. I'm really doing this. And so it was just like a snowball effect from there. I just started getting them left and right. I started grabbing a whole bunch of deals and just bringing them in and just pushing them back out again.
Yeah.
And we were really happy together. We had a good vibe and everything just went really well for me from then on. But it was definitely getting that traction and getting that, getting taught what I needed to do to actually make it happen.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. And you're very fortunate to have like someone on your team that really guided you in the right direction. Cause I mean, it's unfortunate that some people don't have the best mentors, right? And it takes them like forever. So it's really incredible to hear your story and how like the success that you've achieved since then. And then even being on your own now. So like, what does your day-to-day business look like for you? Like, do you work from home? Do you have a team? Are you like door knocking?
Yeah. So really the main thing that we're doing right now is we're cold calling. I'll pull a big list of 10 to 20,000 properties on different criterias.
Yeah.
And, I get really creative and I'll stack these lists up and then I skip trace them. Then I send them to my virtual assistants. They'll do the cold calling. And sometimes I'll recycle through, 40,000 numbers or so just to kind of keep the flow going. But basically my VAs will bring in, I'd say 6 to 10 leads a day between.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, and they do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll bring in some leads and then I'll check the notes and I'll always follow up with them because no lead left behind. If I got the right address, the right person, I'm going to keep following up with them and keep getting that follow-up done.
Mm-hmm.
And then really I've recently hired on some junior acquisition people. So I do have a team, but they're all virtual.
Yeah.
I have a partner named Eddie and he's actually out in Michigan.
Okay,
and
so
then,
he's like, you've never met him in person?
No, I've never, and it's the weirdest relationship because we've only video chat like 3 times. So like I've never really even like seen him, but we've made like a lot of money together.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to just have that person on my side that's really helping me. And then there's my virtual assistants. I had 3. We just recently let one go just because she wasn't performing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my junior acquisition person, Nathaniel, and then I have another person that's doing junior acquisition. Her name is Dana.
Nice.
And so I have them doing all that. And then on the back end, I'm kind of acquisition manager still. I'm still, because I like to prospect the leads. I still like to talk to people. I like to get on the phones and I like to make the offers. Because I feel like a lot of the times with all the experience that I've had talking to people and just being the salesman that I am, I can get on the phone and I can be a little bit more versatile in things. If somebody gets upset, I know how to kind of virtually or over the phone, I guess, kind of wrap my arm around their neck.
Yeah, like manage the emotion.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of the people that start doing wholesaling, they try to do the negotiation like a confrontational, like it's an argument. You know what I mean? And you can't do that. You need to be on their side. You need to say, hey, Mr. Seller, I'm trying to help you. This is where I'm at. This is why I need to be here. And explain to them and just kind of break things down for them.
Right.
And that's really helped me just kind of, instead of talking to somebody like this, put your arm around their shoulder and just kind of take them for a walk and just say, hey, look, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
You have a lot more likely of a chance to get that contract when you do that.
Well, when you're being more personable, right? Like it's still human to human. I feel like a lot of people, like you said, kind of get too money hungry maybe and just see it all as business.
Yep.
But these are like real people and like these are their homes where they probably have a lot of history and emotion behind it. So I feel like really taking that into consideration makes all the difference in sales.
Yeah. And it's a lot of, that's their equity too. They've worked their whole life to get this house or they've worked for a long time to put that equity into the property. You can't just come in and say, hey, this is where I'm going to be. I make my offers and if it doesn't work, I let them go, but I'm always going to follow up.
Right.
Sometimes, and especially nowadays, you get those sellers that think they know what their house is worth. You know what I mean?
Well, all the time they're like, I want $1 million like for my house.
Yeah. You look at the comps, they're like 500,000. You're like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
And so I keep following up with those people just because you never know, something might happen in their life. And really in this business, you want to be in this business to help people, help those people that are going through a hardship or going through a problem or, somebody's aunt passes away. You want to be able to take that off their shoulders and just to alleviate some of that. And that's where I really get the most joy is when I find somebody that needs help and I can actually perform and help them out.
And being like genuine about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just coming in and just saying, hey, this is, and being 100% honest with everything, I've had people ask me, hey, are you wholesaling my property? And I'm like, hey, I'm not going to lie to you. You know, like sometimes that is one of my exit strategies, but what I really try to focus on is buying and holding, fixing and flipping. But I do have a pool of investors that if this doesn't work, maybe we could sell it to them. And a lot of the times when they're in a hurry, they don't mind because they're in a hurry to get it off. They want to get it off. That's why it's such a discount, because they're trading their the convenience of a low offer for their equity.
Right.
You know? And so a lot of the times I found that just being honest and being genuine and just really being there for them helps a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Well, again, it's just like being emotionally in tuned and like being considerate of just people's feelings, right? Will make all the difference in a sale. Yeah. So most definitely, how do you feel like because you said you had a son, right?
Yeah, I have 2.
Aw, congrats. That's awesome. How do you balance like your work and personal life and like giving the attention to your son and like being present with him? How do you do that? Especially with like having like entrepreneurial schedule and mindset.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie. It is very, very tough.
Yeah.
Because during the daytime, I usually will have them. So I'll have them in my house while I'm doing my calls and stuff because I'm working from home. Like I said, my team's all virtual. Nice. Mm-hmm. So I set them up in the living room and I'll put on some shows for them, or I'll get them like finger painting and doing stuff.
Yeah, keep them busy.
Yeah, keep them busy. And then I'll prospect. And when they need something, I'll get up and I'll go handle it, but I come right back to my computer. And so I just try to knock out as much as I can in a day. And then, you know, now that I've actually hired on that manpower, I can push tasks off to other people, which kind of free up some of my time. So that way I can take care of my sons and hang out with them and
like be present.
Yeah, because I always want to be there for them. I always want to take them out and do things. And, you know, if I want to go to the park, now that I have people that are working with me, I don't have to stress so much about I have to work 12 hours a day. You know, I don't have to do that anymore because I have some people that are underneath me kind of taking care of the things I need them to take care of, which it just delegates some of my time. Like
in the responsibilities and stuff?
Yeah, because there's a lot that goes into this. And you know as well as I do, you can't wear all hats in this business. You have to have people. You have to have people. And now that I've kind of found a good little power team that's working for me, it just really helps in that aspect of taking care of my kids and hanging out with them. And so it works. Yeah,
I love that. Do you feel like you have an advantage being that you're primarily like in the virtual side versus like people that do in state where they live type of wholesale?
You know, honestly, I feel like in state, because I do both, right? So I'm in Arizona, but the only difference is in state, I don't have to network with as many people. When I go to Michigan market, I have to network with other wholesalers that are in Michigan.
Like you have to really try.
Yeah, because then I can get boots on the ground. I can get somebody to go out and take pictures. Because let's say there's an older couple that wants to sell their house, but they can't take pictures because they don't know how to use technology.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, I'm going to have to find another wholesaler or maybe even a realtor or somebody that I can pay, a contractor, to go out and take those pictures. Yeah. Whereas if I'm here in Arizona, I can say, hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes, you know, get dressed up and go out there and take my pictures and talk. Yeah. And then build some relationship right there as well. But really, I like doing the virtual thing because it really saves a lot of time. You know, if I was going out to all these properties, it would be a lot of time taken out of my day to just go look at a property and it might not work. And, you know, if I can get it done through pictures and through the internet, then I will. But I've done deals in Georgia, Alabama, Michigan.
That's awesome.
We're doing some in Florida. I just picked up a flip in Florida that I got for $2.4 million and the ARV on it is 3.4.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. So just recently?
Yeah, just recently. Well, and the seller right now, he's like, well, I didn't want to take a chance on you saying no. So I started repainting it. It's on the water. It's beautiful.
What?
Yeah. And I do crazy things. So I have another seller that was in Michigan and she's like, hey, I want to sell my house because there's stairs and I don't like the stairs. I'm getting older. I need something that doesn't have stairs. Can you help me find an apartment? And so at this point, I'm like, she has nobody. She doesn't know how to use the internet. So I start emailing her over a ton of like rental properties that don't have stairs.
Oh, what the heck?
To try to get her into a rental. And now she's applying at all these properties and we're trying to get her into something. And she's like, I appreciate you so much, but that right there is going to win me that house. That's going to win me that contract because I'm actually taking something out to say, hey, here, I will help you find something that's going to work for you with no stairs. You know?
My gosh, this poor little lady.
I know.
You're all helping her out virtually. That's actually really cool. And I feel like a lot of people wouldn't do that. So for you to go the extra step just kind of shows like your character and all that. So I think that's really nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So I'm curious, what does like the business for you and like your goals look like for this year? Like do you have anything that you want to accomplish? Are you working towards anything? Or are you kind of just like comfortable where you're at and like operating?
Yeah, so I definitely want to expand some more. I want to get me some more cold callers. I want to get me some more people that are working underneath me. And then a big goal for me is just start building that rental portfolio, because we're in here for the long-term wealth. We use wholesale as our ATM to fill up that piggy bank to put it into different rentals. And I've been really looking into the Airbnb idea too.
Yeah, that's like huge here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I have a few friends that do it. And then I just recently went to a meetup where it was like all Airbnb like hosts and stuff. Yep. And it's incredible, like the revenue that you can make and just the passive income that comes with like that industry specifically.
Yeah, it's a ton. So, I see guys that are making like $400 a night, and I'm like,
right?
And if you do it the right way, you can make a lot of money. I mean, if you get a rental that somebody already owns and they want to rent it month to month, get it on a corporate lease, and then tell them, hey, I want to do my Airbnb thing on a corporate lease. And if they're cool with it, then now you can pay them their rent each month and still make a profit on like an Airbnb arbitrage.
Right.
There's a ton of ways to do it, but I think that my main goal is to find a lot of rentals. I do some subject to, some creative finance type stuff, but I've just found that for subject to and for creative finance, it takes somebody that's in a specific situation, because not a lot of people want to do the seller finance or want to do the subject to, but when they really need it and a cash offer won't work, I will offer them the subject to or the wraparound mortgage idea to try to take care of and alleviate their problems, just like we were talking about.
Right. So really figuring out like what would work for that deal is pretty much what you do for each one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
exactly.
Awesome.
There's not a specific thing that's going to work for each deal. Some people, one guy's house might be really beat up and one guy might have a really nice house, but he just can't cover the mortgage payment.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on which person is going through what and what's going to be best for that person. And then I just take it from there.
Yeah. So. That's awesome. So are you currently doing anything or like a day-to-day practice that you help like yourself, what am I trying to say? Like to learn more in the industry, to better yourself? Like, is there anything that you practice on? Like, I know a lot of people do, like self-development. Do you do anything like that? Like on your day-to-day to kind of like help yourself in your business or just in your personal growth?
Honestly, yeah. So I go to the gym every day.
Nice.
And that really helps me just kind of get in the flow of the morning. So I'll wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I just head out. I roll out of bed and I just head to the gym.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Do you take like any pre-workout?
No, but I do take some protein.
Oh, nice.
And so I've been doing that. And then I'll meditate a little bit because I feel like that really helps with your intuition and your energy. Because, you can, when you start meditating and stuff, things get... I don't know if you've ever experienced the same thing that I'm talking about, but sometimes things get weird. I'll start manifesting things in my life that I don't mean to manifest.
Well, it's energy.
Exactly.
And people that understand that like really implement it in their day-to-day life because it's so real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the energy is a big part of what we do, but I think that at the end of the day, it does take a lot of hard work to actually get to the point where you're closing deals.
100%. You can't rely solely on energy.
You can't just rely on energy, but energy helps. It's like that booster that helps you get through the tough part,
100%.
And so I really think, because when I first started, I thought, 4 hours a day doing the wholesale would work. And like, that doesn't really justify, you got to do this thing for like 9 to 5.
It's like 24/7.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I was literally just talking to a seller when I was in here.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah. Right before I came in, I was like, hey, we need to pay off for your mortgage. And he's like, all right, great. I'll get that. He was actually asking me if he could watch the podcast.
Oh my gosh. I hope he's watching right now. Shout out to whoever it was. But yeah, that's really cool. I think that's so important. And I always like to ask like the people that come into the studio, like, what is it that you do to better yourself? And it's funny because all of them kind of are in the same realm where they go to the gym or they meditate or they try to be in tune with themselves, because if you're not right mentally, like how can you project like success and positivity within your company and anything else?
Yeah. And if you're not right, everything's going to go wrong.
100%.
You have to take care of yourself. You have to make sure yourself is right and your energy and your mind and everything like that. And once you get that dialed in, then everything will follow.
100%.
But it's really just about the self-care that we were talking about.
Yeah, I totally agree. Christopher, I want to give you this time to share any closing remarks. Is there anything that like you could tell our viewers that are barely starting out? A lot of them like are barely getting into the real estate game. Some of them are interested in virtual or just overall wholesale. Is there any advice you would give to people that are watching? Yeah.
So I would definitely say do not give up. Everybody has their time to shine, and I think that it will come. But you can't get caught up in the what do they call it? shiny object syndrome or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, you can't see the big stacks and say, oh, I'm going to get that in a month. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that happens, but it's very rarely. So if you just stick with what you're doing, learn from other people and network, you will get to that point to where you're actually closing deals and actually making money. But you have to actually try, and you have to put your time in and dedicate. For me, I dedicated every ounce of myself to actually make this happen. And I think that it's possible for anybody. I mean, I have tattoos all over, so I think anybody could definitely do it. But that's my advice, is just don't give up and just keep going. Something will happen for you eventually.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I want to ask about, do you feel like having tattoos and like piercings and stuff like give you a disadvantage or like make a difference in your business?
Well, see, that's what I love about doing the virtual, because when I get on the phone with people, nobody knows. I can talk
like
to somebody.
What your appearance is.
Exactly. And I can talk to them so professional that everything just works out. Everything flows. They have no idea that I have any tattoos, any piercings on my face. And that's what really helps me with the virtual. Now, if I go out to a showing, I'm going to wear a hat that has a curved bill and cover up my tattoos and wear a long sleeve. But, you know, for the most part, it's never affected me. It's never done anything. And I think that even if they did see me, I don't think it would bother them because of my character, because of the way that I come off and my energy and the way that I treat people. They know that I'm genuine. They know that I'm here to help. And so at the end of the day, I think that I haven't let it be a disadvantage. But I mean, it could definitely be if you have the wrong tattoos, right?
Yeah. Well, also just like, you know, in the society, like people are so easy to judge, right? Yeah. And they kind of have like this like view on tattoos as like a negative automatically for the most part. But I don't think like it should by any means affect business or how somebody should view somebody if they have like tattoos or piercings or anything. Like, again, like you said, it's all about how genuine you are and how you project yourself to others and how you speak and care and stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming into the studio and everything that you had to share. Where can our followers find you on social media, reach out to you if they have questions, they want to connect with you, if you wanted to share like your Instagram handle or your Facebook?
Yeah. So my Instagram is $4dwellings with a 4. And then my Facebook is Christopher Garcia. And there's just a profile picture of me holding a card with a tuxedo on.
Yeah.
So you can find me on those 2 places. And feel free to reach out and connect to me and see if we can't be an asset to each other in some kind of way.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Christopher, again, thank you so much for coming into the studio. It was awesome to chat with you. Guys, we put up these podcasts to provide some value and education to our community. If you have any questions, of course, reach out to Christopher at Dollars for Dwellings on his Instagram or Chris Garcia on his Facebook. And make sure to follow us on Dispo Sharks on our Instagram. But tune into the next one.